The next clip is really about the courage of the performer and not so much of the composer, although the composer was a courageous person in his own way. But this is a tribute to my late teacher, Maestro James DePreist, who was my teacher at the Juilliard School. Maestro DePreist was someone who profoundly influenced my own musical life. He was born in Pennsylvania, and he was the nephew of the great contralto, Marian Anderson, who was a real civil rights activist and was the first black person to sing at the Metropolitan Opera in New York. In fact, Maestro DePreist, James DePreist, was one of the first black conductors on the world stage. He became a conductor when he led a US State Department tour to Bangkok. And in Bangkok, he had the chance to conduct the local orchestra, because at the time he was a jazz musician, in fact. He conducted the local orchestra, and then while in Thailand, he contracted polio. Now, this would have lasting effects on his life, and he had to wear braces on his legs to conduct. But he did recover sufficiently to return to New York and compete in the Dimitri Metropolis competition, and he won that competition. The prize was a year of being the assistant conductor at the New York Philharmonic with the immortal, great conductor, Leonard Bernstein. Making a career as a black conductor in a very white world, we're talking about the mid-20th centuries, the 60s, the 70s. Maestro DePreist was right there. To top it all off, he had the lasting effects of his bout with polio, which he bested. But for a lot of his career, he wore leg braces, and when I knew him, he was in a wheelchair, but he was a constant fount of inspiration, of poetry, of knowledge, and I was so heartened to find this clip of him on YouTube when he was the assistant conductor at the New York Philharmonic to Bernstein. And Bernstein introduces him in one of his famous young persons concerts to conduct the Gnome, which is the first sketch in Mussorgsky's pictures at an exhibition. Now, the pictures at an exhibition, to say a little bit about the music, were originally piano pieces, actually, and they were based on sketches and drawings by Victor Hartmann, who was an artist, who was an architect and designer. So they were for piano, but then the great French composer, the great Basque composer, Maurice Ravel, orchestrated them. And so we're going to hear the first character piece, Gnomus, the gnome. And in Mussorgsky's own words, he describes him as a kind of a nutcracker, a gnome into whose mouth you put a nut to crack. Now, he's a bit of a crotchety old creature, and you'll hear angular leaps, you'll hear shrieks, and you'll hear the slippery melodies that suggest the gnome's own savage shrieks and his droll movements. But really, we're here to just watch a tribute to a great man, to Maestro James DePreist. And here he is at the very start of his career. And what a career based in courage it was.